Today, 35% of what we eat every day is fast food. We've doubled our spending on buying food away from the home, and food that's almost always higher in fat, salt, and sugar. Our obsession with sugary drinks has also doubled in the last 3 decades. About 10% of the calories our kids consume every day, the building blocks of their brain, bones, liver, and heart, come from soda. And our appetite for meat has become gargantuan and absolutely unsustainable. And what was once a weekly treat is now often inhaled at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, it's impossible to respect what you are eating when you are eating so much of it. Most of us in this room consume 150 times more chicken than our grandparents did. And 99% of our meat and dairy comes directly to us from filthy factory farms that are devastating our air and water, and where animals are force-fed food that is unnatural to their systems, pumped with hormones and antibiotics to make them get bigger faster so they can be slaughtered quicker and sold to us to keep up with the growing demand. That is what we are eating and feeding our kids. Animal products are the main source of saturated fats, which contribute to a whole host of diseases, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that diet-related illnesses is now America's top killer. We are in the midst of a tsunami of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, allergies. Yale University scientists recently reported that childhood obesity has tripled over the past 30 years. So today, over half of all American kids are now officially classified as overweight. And overweight people have more heart disease, cancer, and are 3 times more prone to suffer from diabetes. A 2009 Gallup study found diabetes hits 1 in 9 Americans, but that number will soon be outdated. The CDC just released figures warning that by mid-century, that figure would go to 1 in 3. 1 in 3. So that's like, look to your right and to your left. 1 of the 3 of you will have diabetes. I mean, that is a huge percentage of our population with a serious, chronic, and expensive disease.
Food was barely mentioned in An Inconvenient Truth, the Academy Award-winning film that you produced. And it seems that food seems to be much more on the forefront of consciousness these days. I mean, some places have always been full of foodies like San Francisco.
Right,
but in terms of the environmental awareness of movement, food seems to be rising up in terms of an issue. So is that something you've seen? I mean, why wasn't food part of the movie? Was it just not part of it?
Well, there was so much talk about, something had to give, because, you have to edit these things and people have to, food, so.
But now people talk about cutting your meat consumption is probably the biggest thing you can do to reduce your carbon footprint.
Well, we have to. Honestly, just if you don't care about the environment, you just care about your health, we have to start eating less meat. We have to. And it's completely unsustainable. So we're eating too much of it. So we have to do that. Food miles, how far this food's traveling. The fact that everything's available all year long. Like, that is crazy. I mean, how exciting is it when you get to taste the first strawberry in June? And how delicious does that taste? I mean, we're undermining that experience by having this available all year long. I mean, we really don't understand what fresh tastes like anymore because we're not really eating fresh food. So that's a big challenge. But I think the reason why food is becoming more popular, and I think the issues of food, every single thing that we all care about crosses the dinner plate. I mean, this is the perfect place where all these issues come together. And the kitchen is the greenest room in your house to start, practicing and teaching these values. And, food waste is another issue. What we're throwing away is insane. How about how much plastic, we're using in the kitchen? And the fact that we're all drinking from plastic water bottles and not from glass and not from the tap. And in your kitchen, kids are grabbing like water bottles. And, there's a lot of issues relating, not just the fact that every piece of plastic that ever existed, that was ever made. Think of every piece of saran wrap that ever went on a bowl still exists, right? So we need to, a lot of this is about we need to go backwards in order to go forward, right? We need to go back to some simpler times, and we need to, in order to move ahead, because it is unsustainable the way we're living. It really is.
So sustainability, it sounds great to buy organic, but a lot of organic costs more, again, and some people aren't willing to.
Yeah, but so then you pick the things that are the most important, and there's a whole list, and we have a list in the book of okay, if you can only afford, 5 organic vegetables or fruits, buy these. But I would also argue that if people ate less meat, they can use that extra money to buy a better quality of meat, right? So if you cook at home, that's a lot cheaper than buying takeout and eating in restaurants all the time. So I think there's ways to, shuffle things a little bit to get the benefits from it.
Let's talk about meat a little bit. You mentioned Jonathan Foyer at the end of your book, who wrote a book, Eating Animals, which, do you eat a lot of meat at your dinner table? Are you vegetarian? Are your kids vegetarian?
Okay, I am a meat reducer, okay? And I honestly, I really hate labels because I think they put this pressure on you, and it's, you don't have to put a label on yourself. You just have to, find healthier ways to live. And so I consider myself a meat reducer. And my kids eat, we have a chapter about Meatless Monday, but in my house it's basically Meatless Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I do eat meat, but I eat it, not that much. And when I have it, I enjoy it.
Less than you used to?
85% less than I used to. And I try to buy, organic meat and grass-fed meat when I can. But it's a very simple way to, to reduce your carbon footprint and help your health too, is to eat less of it.